I'm going to take you back to 2008. When I was 20 years old, I was living in Chicago in a studio apartment with my cat, and I was finishing up my senior year of college, and that was also the year that Obama first ran for president. And I had a friend who worked for the alderman and said, hey, why don't you come volunteer at the ballots with me? It'll be fun. And I was like, yeah, sure, totally. And at this time, too, in my life, like I was getting a degree in music business from an art school that was basically a high school of sorts. Very dedicated. I'm not a political person by nature. I have a lot of feelings. I have a lot of opinions. I like to tell you them. Are they based in fact? Not usually. So, and especially this was the first election that I could vote in. And like my experience politically was as soon as I got to college, the first thing I did was join a protest against George W. Bush. For what? I don't really know. I just want to fucking protest. I'm a college girl now. I was dating a guy at the time. His name was Bob. When I met Bob, he was sick of dating girls with borderline personality disorder, and I was sick of dating men that were 40 and like 20-year-old girls, and we were very safe. We did not like each other, but we did not know that at the time. I only found out when we broke up, and I ran to my friend's house crying, and he looked at me and goes, "You didn't even like him." And I was like, "You were right." So Bob and I were together during this time, and the day that I was at the polls, I was with my friend Mary Kate, and she said, sit here, here's some basic rules, you're gonna be here for the day, it'll be great. I got there at 6 a.m. I don't know why, but when you are in college, if you get up at 6 a.m. for anything, it feels like an accomplishment. So I walked in like, hey, I got this, we're gonna win this. And I didn't know I wasn't allowed to judge people for their political choices at that time. Like, I personally was like, who are you voting for? And they were like, please stop asking people that. That is, actually, you're not allowed to do that. And I was like, but you're voting for Obama. The whole day, I just would like wink, wink at whoever I could to just get them to be like, do you feel good about your vote? Do you feel like it gave people choices? Or do you feel like it, like, you know, was like conservative? But the thing about when you're sitting in that situation is, you know, anybody that volunteers at the polls like that, like, bless them. Like, it's, when you go vote, like, thank them, because like that is a fucking terrible job. That's like, it sucks. It's very long. It's very boring. But you're doing a really, really great thing. So people kept bringing us food, which was awesome, and they kept bringing us like pastries and homemade goods and just like food. And I didn't have money to buy a lot of food for myself at that time, so I started eating pastries at 6 a.m. and didn't stop for the entire day. And I'm gonna get really candid with you guys, okay? I'm gonna get really candid. I'm probably not supposed to have gluten. I don't know. I made it up, maybe. I might also be lactose intolerant. I was not tolerant of these pastries. So now we have someone who is inappropriately asking people questions about who they're voting for as they grab their ballots, and now I also have uncontrollable gas. Just like a full fart storm, you know? Just like, there was like at a certain point midday where I was just like, you know what? You have to talk to me. You don't have a choice. So I'd look at someone, hand them their ballot, fart, ask them how their day was, look down, make sure I had my supplies, fart, take another pastry. Friend Mary Kate would check in on me. How you doing? I'm great. I farted again. I can't help it. I don't have control at this point, and I have to be here. This was miserable. I was also physically uncomfortable, okay? I wanted this election to go right now. Like, I wanted it to be done forever. It was a very exhausting day for me, not because I got tired of taking people's ballots and directing them where to go and telling old people how to read. It was mostly just because I could not stop farting. Which also meant that I was truly doing God's work. Because you know what I mean? Like when you are a fart monster, you need to just stay in a room by yourself. You don't belong in public. You don't tell people about it on stage into a microphone. You just fucking leave the country and fart alone in your room forever. So it was a very exciting election, obviously. There was a lot on the line. And in Chicago, it was a huge fucking deal. Like a huge deal. Obama's from Chicago. It was a big deal. So again, this is me up on the north side of Chicago, farting up a storm at the polls. Everybody else getting really excited. We're starting to hear Chicago, Obama's winning, very excited. End of the day, we find out he fucking won. Celebrate, everyone cheers, opportunity to fart again. They can't hear me. And then I was like, well, we gotta go celebrate. And everybody was down in Grant Park. And I walked down to Grant Park and I held Bob's hand, and I also just farted a lot in front of Bob. And again, point why I did not like him. And if you're curious, this story is not about election, it's about me farting. So, you know, when this happened, we heard, but we didn't know for sure yet. You know, it's like takes a while because everyone sucks and, you know, that kind of stuff happens, and I'm sure it'll happen again and we'll all want to lose our minds and kill ourselves. But, so we go down, I take the train down to the south side, to the South Loop, where Grant Park is, and it's packed with people, like packed. Never seen so many people all together at once. You're walking down the street, people are selling shirts, people are celebrating. It's amazing. The energy was like nothing I had ever felt in my life, ever. It was incredible. And everybody's happy and excited. And like, of course I was like, I gotta get an Obama shirt. I gotta get it. Fucking put it on, farted in it, walked down the street, went, held hands with Bob. Bob did not know what was going on in general because we just didn't speak to each other. And we went down and we stood in Grant Park, and they had a big screen up that was showing what was going to be Obama's acceptance speech. And it was honestly like, it really was just such an experience. And it ends up being somewhat sentimental just because it felt important, because I participated in something that was really great. I forgot to vote. I was very caught up in the farts and pastries and, you know, going downtown and buying shirts. But God, it was meaningful. And I stood there in Grant Park surrounded by people full of excitement and joy and happiness. And I looked up at him and I held his hand and I looked at him and I said, other people are kissing. I feel like maybe we should kiss. So we pecked each other on the lips. It was not nice. It tasted gross. And then I just, you know, I looked at him and I looked around me and I looked at, you know, Obama was giving his acceptance speech and McCann was like, I suck. And it was just you know what I mean? Like I went home, I farted for the last time that night, and I put my head on that pillow and I knew it made a difference. Thank you guys so much.
Lindsay Adams, ladies and gentlemen.